Hello, hello. Here we
Hello.
are for the Magical Women series. And thank you so much, Zoe, for being a part of it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm
Great.
I'm
This is a
really
really good
stoked.
idea.
Thank you. I've been wanting to do it forever. And of course, so the point of this is to focus on magical people. So often, we were talking about this before the call. I hear and you hear, how do I connect with my tribe? How do I connect with my
Yeah.
tribe? And the answer is always, well, we're everywhere. We're
Yeah.
just all kind of shy and hang out at home with our pets and our plants. So the point, and our candles and our crystals for sure. The
Yeah.
point of this is to kind of expose each other to each other and say, this is a magical person, this is what they look like. And when I say magic, I mean people who use your own inner connection with your sacred and who
Mm.
do ritual, who do
Yeah.
prayer in your own time.
And I think it's important to remember that there's so many ways that that can happen. Like there's so many ways a person can use their magic, and it doesn't necessarily have to fit within that one mold that we're so used to seeing. So, yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Yes, agreed. And Zoe here is the creator of Life Gazing, which is a multimedia online platform that totally you imbue your stuff with magic and tech
Oh,
very
thank
well.
you.
A lot of people try, sometimes it really succeeds. Yours is solid. You can really
Yes.
figure out how to, oh shucks.
I'm stoked. I did it.
You did, you do it, you did and you do, and
Yeah.
you will. Mwahaha. Um,
Wow.
but,
Yeah.
but you do and imbue it with such presence. It's the quiet
Mm.
moments that you capture so well.
Yeah.
So
That's
first
that's the kind of
question.
magic that I like to focus on personally.
Okay.
But like I said, there's so many different types. And
Yes. So that's my
yeah.
first question for you is what do you think magic is? What is magic to you? Because like you said, it's
Oh.
unique to the person. So for you, what is it? And again, also just saying
Yeah.
for anyone who may be watching, this is all opinions. You don't
Hmm.
have to agree. We're here to share knowledge and information. So feel free to speak openly because this is not a place to say anything is wrong. We're just asking what goes on in your
Gosh,
inner world.
I think that it's kind of like, when people talk about, especially in the Christian world, they talk about God is everywhere, right? God is in everything.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how I see magic. It's like magic is in everything. It's everywhere. It's in every plant, being, person, animal, the air. It's in the water. It's everywhere. And it's in every action. It's just a matter of seeing or feeling that. Like it's present, but are we present for that? Sometimes that's what makes the
Oops.
difference there.
That was
Yeah.
nice. What
Yeah.
is the relationship, do you think, between God and magic? A lot of people think that cross purposes. I don't experience that at all. What do you think?
Um, I don't know what to think right now, honestly. I'm still kind of finessing my own thoughts on the divine. And I'm doing a lot of self-study and things like that. So what I think about the divine is always changing, but the only constant I think is that I feel it is so much more than what we can label. And our language is limited. So as humans, what we can understand and how we can talk about it, it limits the way that we can actually uh, comprehend what is truly divine. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does. I think so.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so, okay, I want to ask you about rituals. I want to ask you about
Mm.
what you do to align yourself, why you do it, how it feels. So, some people watching this who may be familiar with rituals, that's great. Some people who may not be but are feeling the call can construct their own based on their inner
Yeah.
thing. You know, this is, I believe that now is the time that we're stepping out of dogma and we're stepping out of hierarchy and all this kind of
Yes.
stuff. So, it's so important to, we talked about this
Yes.
before,
That's
Maha.
so important.
Yeah, to bring it up. So
Yeah.
what do you do? How does it feel to you and why do you do it? And does it work?
Does it work?
The magic. Does it work?
Yes.
That's what always matters, right? It's like, did it work? Did a ritual?
um First, the way I think of ritual is it could be anything. This is kind of what I've come to. So I've had a long journey with like my own practices and rituals, and for a while I even put everything aside for quite a few years, and I was like, I just felt overwhelmed and a lot of pressure because there's so many there's so many things out there, and I'm one of those people that I want to like do everything and gather everything and become an expert at all, you know. But there was a lot of pressure too, because there's for good reason. So say like, for instance, there's so many people out there who are doing yoga and practicing that specific practice as a ceremony, as a ritual, as part of their daily routine. And when I began to practice, you're jumping in and there's like thousands of years of history, and there's people who are already really good at it, and there's a set way that you can or cannot follow. But I think that honoring tradition is a great thing to do. So it definitely felt over time that I was adding more and more pressures to myself. And then I was like, I just need to step back and see like what I want and what I do, and get rid of all of this for a bit. And so I did that for like 2 years or so, and I gave up all my practices and things. And then I've been slowly coming back to it recently. And so my ritual has changed a lot, say from when I was a child and I was very interested in learning the set ways. Now it's kind of more a mishmash of what I take on and also what feels right in any one moment. So it's very spontaneous. And as I was saying, like, I think of ritual as like, it could be anything. Like washing the dishes could be ritual. If you look at the way monks saw ritual and devotion, that word devotion is really interesting and cool. So back in the day in monasteries, monks would see all their daily chores as part of the devotional practice. And so I really like to open it up in that way. Like what I do there, that's my altar right there. What I do there is ritual, but so is, I don't know, the most mundane of things, like going to the post office, or yeah, like I said, doing the dishes, small things that I can add some sense of like presentness to. Right, recently I've been playing the piano, and so I'm trying to like put myself into that, and it feels really nice. It's like it is a ritual in its own way.
So tell me more about when you were a child. How did you feel the divine? What was the call like for you to study these kinds of things? And what did you learn? What did you implement?
Oh, I stumbled across things. I would like go to the library, and I go to that. I think you've done this. You know, I think most of us who are in a spiritual awakening have had this experience. If you go to the library, and you go to that one section where all the books are, and you're like, yes, and your inner goblin comes out, and you're like, I want them all. And then you read and you take things in, and you're super into it. That was how I was when I was younger. And so I was essentially just reading and trying things out, experimenting, practicing. I had, I think I was like, now I've kind of stripped things back a lot. But back then, it was all about go it all in. And so I actually at one point had about 15 altars in my room, like mini altars.
Wow.
And I would put them, each one for different things. Like there was a mermaid altar and a fairies altar, and then this. And dusting was a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
was crazy, but I loved it. And I just I was really playing around and just super curious. I think that was the childlike aspect of it, just curious,
So do
learning.
you feel like, especially since you took a break from doing this type of thing, going deep in the spiritual stuff,
Hmm.
now that you're doing it again, what is the difference in your life when you are doing it versus when you are not, for
Mm.
you?
It comes from what I really wanted when I stepped back, was to find a better motivation, and one that was more centered, because a motivation that comes from outside myself, it felt like everyone else is doing this, everyone's doing that. And it can feel like that, especially if you're stepping right into your spiritual path. You see what everyone else is doing, the way they're showing up, how they're learning Reiki, how they're learning this, how they're learning that. And they seem so accomplished and amazing, and you want to be like them. And I realized very quickly that that wasn't sustainable for myself, and also it didn't feed me, and it actually played into a lot of self-criticism that I already have and that I deal with too often. So I'm like, okay, this is not right. I need to finesse this, figure it out, and come from a place of doing this on my own terms, and because I actually want to, and in the ways that I want to. So now it's interesting. It's like, it's funny because I feel like I'm doing a lot of the same things, so it would look very similar if you see what I'm doing, but the difference is just an inner, it's kind of like an inner feeling of like wanting to do it for my own desire, my own happiness, my own self-worth, like all of that, just because I freaking love it. And, and it's funny because for a while there, I went away, like I said, for like 2 years. I was like, fuck all this shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Like, screw all this shit. And I was like, maybe I'll never come back to it. Maybe I'll never feel that way. But no, it came back. The desire it came back, and it was like overwhelming, and I had to act again. I had to do something. I had to like bring back my rituals because I really wanted to. And that was the difference.
Something that's coming up is how you said when someone first finds a spiritual path and finds thousands of years of tradition and a whole world over there, the thing that I love about this current society, especially with tech, is that go in any direction, like studying, go in any direction and it expands. I went to the Pin and Patch Expo for my brother who's into that kind of thing in LA one time, and I'm walking around in this warehouse full of all these things and all these inside joke stuff among gamers, and I didn't know anything about this world. I'm like, this is a whole freaking universe over here. It's like that all the time. So when people come into the spiritual realm, it can be like, oh my gosh, there's so much. And when a lot of people get in touch with me, it's like, especially young women, and that's the majority of my folks are women. So I hear a lot of, I'm still so new at this, I still have so far to go, I just got started, in an apologetic way. And I keep wanting to tell people, I mean, while you're sitting here staring at people who've made it their life's work, I mean, like, I've been focusing exclusively on spirituality and non-physical realities for 17 years. Like, that's my thing, right? So the whole world is still majority asleep. Like, we're at the first wave of waking up. So that's what I always tell people. I'm like, no, you're early. You are not late. You're like, look around at the world. The party, like. Exactly. Like, there are some of us here, but we're still a vast minority. So speaking of, and we're almost out of time. Eve, I don't want to go over, but we have like a minute and a half left. What thoughts do you have left for people to find their tribe who are so lonely, who want to find others like them?
Oh, I think reaching out to others, that's the way that I managed to do it, because I felt very alone in high school and stuff. I think that's something we all feel. And once you reach adulthood, you carry those feelings of like, oh, when I was younger, nobody accepted me, blah, blah, blah. But in all honesty, we're like, a lot of us out there figuring this out and opening up and exploring new things. And being open with yourself really helps. So like, seriously stepping out of the closet and being like, this is me, I do this. And then reaching out to others who also do the same. And that the internet has been amazing with that, like, helps so much.
Absolutely.
That's how I met you.
Agree. I know. That's I don't know if most, but many, many, many of my current real life friends were once on the screen, and now a lot of times live in my phone like we do. Well, thank you so much. We're out of time. Thank you. People can find you at Life Gazing on Insta, at lifegazing.com. Is that
yes, lifegazing.com. If you just Google it, it should come up. It has a dash in between.
Yes. Thank you so much, Zoe. Oh, there's our timer. Thank you. Love you. Can't wait to see you again very soon. Yeah, go follow Zoe, you guys. She's awesome. And blessings on your move back to New Zealand whenever that happens.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we'll see when that happens. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Blessings. Bye.
Bye.